The medical station floated in the darkness of space, its lights blinking like distant stars. Inside, doctors and nurses from a dozen different alien species rushed through the corridors. Their faces showed fear and worry. Something terrible had happened. Dr. Lisa Crawford stood in the corner of the main medical bay, watching the chaos unfold. She was a human doctor, only 34 years old, with tired eyes and short brown hair tied back in a messy knot. Her white coat had coffee stains on it from a long shift that should have ended hours ago. But no one was going home tonight. The doors burst open. A group of soldiers carried someone on a floating stretcher. Lisa could see purple blood dripping onto the floor. The patient was young, maybe 20 years old in human terms. His skin was pale blue and covered in scales that shimmered even in the harsh medical lights. He had 4 arms and all of them hung limp and broken. "It's Prince Calvin," someone whispered nearby. "The Veltharan heir." Lisa's stomach dropped. She knew what that meant. The Veltharans were allies in the war against the Dominion Empire. If their prince died, the alliance might fall apart. Millions of lives depended on keeping the Veltharan system on their side. The head doctors gathered around the prince. There was Dr. Sylph, a tall insect-like being with compound eyes. Next to him stood Dr. Morath, who looked like a floating jellyfish made of light. They were the best doctors in the galaxy, trained in the most advanced medical schools across hundreds of worlds. Lisa watched them work. They scanned the prince with machines that hummed and glowed. Holographic displays showed his internal organs in perfect detail. The readings made the doctors step back, their faces grim. "His crystalline bone structure is shattered in 47 places," Dr. Sylph said, his voice clicking and buzzing. "The fragments have pierced his major blood vessels." "His triple heart system is failing," Dr. Morath added, her voice like wind chimes. "2 hearts have stopped. The third is barely functioning. Even with our technology, we cannot restart them. The damage is too severe." More doctors examined the prince. Each one looked at the scans and shook their heads. Lisa heard words like "impossible" and "beyond saving" whispered through the room. The prince's breathing became weaker with each passing minute. Commander Jake Morrison appeared at Lisa's side. He was a human military officer, tall and broad-shouldered, with gray hair and a lined face that had seen too many battles. "This is bad," he muttered quietly. "If the prince dies, the Veltharans will pull out of the war. We'll lose the entire sector." Lisa nodded but didn't speak. She was focused on the holographic displays, studying the prince's biology with intense concentration. The doors opened again. This time, everyone in the room stood straighter. Supreme General Vaxthor entered. He was massive, nearly 8 feet tall, with dark green scales and 4 powerful arms. His species, the Krellians, were known as the greatest warriors in the galaxy. His yellow eyes swept across the room, taking in everything. "Report," he commanded. His voice was deep and cold. Dr. Sylph bowed his head. "Supreme General, we have done everything possible. The prince's injuries are beyond our ability to heal. His biology is too damaged. The assassination attempt was successful, even though he still breathes." "How long does he have?" Vaxthor asked. "Hours, maybe less." The general walked closer to the dying prince. He looked down at the young alien, and for a moment, something like sadness crossed his reptilian face. Then it was gone, replaced by the hard expression of a military commander. "No one can save him," Vaxthor announced, his voice carrying through the entire medical bay. "Prepare to inform the Veltharan government. Tell them their prince died with honor, wounded in service to the coalition. Prepare for the political consequences of losing their alliance." Lisa felt her hands clench into fists. She had been listening, watching, thinking. Her mind raced through everything she had learned about alien biology. For months, she had been studying different species in her spare time, fascinated by how life had evolved on different worlds. The Veltharans had always interested her because their biology reminded her of something from Earth's ancient past. Before she could stop herself, Lisa stepped forward. "I can save him." The entire room went silent. Every alien eye turned to look at her. Some of the doctors made sounds that might have been laughs in their native languages. "You?" Dr. Zilf's voice dripped with disbelief. "A human? Your species has been part of the galactic community for less than 50 years. You know nothing of advanced medicine." Supreme General Vaxthor stared at Lisa. His yellow eyes were like laser beams, trying to see inside her mind. "Explain yourself, human." Lisa's heart pounded, but she kept her voice steady. "I've been studying Veltaran biology. Their crystalline bone structure is similar to ancient creatures from Earth called trilobites. Their triple heart system is complex but not impossible to understand. I think I can repair the damage." "You think?" Vaxthor's voice was dangerous. "You would gamble with the prince's life based on thinking?" "With respect, Supreme General, he's already dying," Lisa said. "What do you have to lose by letting me try?" Dr. Morath floated forward. "General, this is absurd. Human medicine is primitive. They still use physical cutting tools. They perform surgery with their hands. It's barbaric compared to our technology." "Sometimes barbaric is what you need," Lisa shot back. She looked directly at the general. "Your advanced medicine failed. Maybe it's time to try something different." Commander Morrison stepped forward. "General, I've seen human military doctors perform miracles in combat. We've been fighting wars for thousands of years. We learned to fix terrible injuries because we had to. We never had perfect technology, so we learned to improvise." Vaxthor was quiet for a long moment. The only sound was the beeping of machines monitoring the prince's failing hearts. Finally, he spoke. "If he dies because of your incompetence, Dr. Crawford, you may doom your entire species standing in the coalition. The Veltharans will demand justice. Are you willing to accept that responsibility?" Lisa met his eyes without flinching. "Yes." The general nodded slowly. "Then save him." "You have my permission to try. But know this, I do not believe you will succeed. No one can save him, not even a human." Lisa rolled up her sleeves. "Watch me." Lisa moved quickly to the prince's side. Her hands were steady as she examined him, ignoring the stares from the alien doctors around her. They thought she was crazy. Maybe she was. But she had seen the holographic scans, and she had seen something they missed. "I need a detailed scan of his crystalline bone structure," she said. "Focus on the molecular composition." Dr. Zilf reluctantly activated the scanner. Images appeared in the air, showing the prince's shattered bones in perfect detail. Lisa studied them carefully, her eyes moving fast across the data. "There," she said, pointing. "See how the crystals are arranged? They grow in layers, just like coral reefs on Earth. When they break, they don't shatter randomly. They break along natural fault lines." "What does that matter?" Dr. Morath asked. "Broken is broken." "Not to humans," Lisa replied. "On Earth, we learned how to help coral reefs grow back. We use special frames and electrical currents to encourage crystal formation. I can do the same thing here, but inside his body." The alien doctors exchanged looks. One of them made a sound like a snort. "That's impossible. The technology doesn't exist." "Then I'll invent it," Lisa said simply. She turned to Commander Morrison. "Jake, I need you to contact the human ship in orbit. Tell them to send down every piece of medical equipment we have, especially the 3D printer from engineering." Jake nodded and left quickly. Lisa turned back to the prince. His breathing was getting weaker. She didn't have much time. "What about his hearts?" Dr. Zilf demanded. "Even if you somehow repair his bones, 2 of his hearts have stopped. Our defibrillation technology is too gentle to restart them without causing more damage." Lisa smiled, but there was no humor in it. Then we won't use your defibrillation technology. She began calling out orders. I need a human medical team. Get me Amy Chen from the human quarters. She's an anesthesiologist. I also need any alien medical staff willing to work with human techniques. To her surprise, a small insect-like nurse named Crix stepped forward. I will help, Crix said in a high-pitched voice. I have seen human doctors work before. They do not give up easily. A moment later, a being made of floating gas named Zeph drifted over. I can monitor cellular activity, Zeph said, his voice like whispers. I will assist. Amy Chen arrived within minutes. She was a short woman with dark hair and quick hands. She took one look at the dying prince and didn't ask any questions. What do you need? She asked Lisa. I need him stable enough to survive surgery, Lisa said. His biology is failing. Can you keep him under while I work? Amy studied the scans. His brain chemistry is different from anything I've seen, but the principles should be the same. I'll adapt. She began preparing her equipment. Commander Morrison returned with several crates of human medical supplies. Lisa opened them and pulled out tools that made the alien doctors gasp. There were metal scalpels, clamps, sutures made of strong thread, and other instruments that looked ancient compared to the sleek alien technology. You cannot be serious, Dr. Zilf said. Those tools are thousands of years old by galactic standards. And they work, Lisa said. She held up a scalpel. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. Your laser cutters are precise, but they can't adapt to unexpected situations. This knife goes where I tell it to go. It does what I need it to do. She looked at the team she had assembled. Here's the plan. First, I'm going to stabilize his bone structure using synthetic crystal matrices. We'll 3D print them based on his own bone composition. Then I'll graft them into place using a technique humans developed for dental surgery. That will take hours, Dr. Morath protested. He'll be dead before you finish. Not if Amy keeps him alive, Lisa said. Once the bones are stable, I'll restart his hearts. The alien way won't work. So we'll do it the human way. Direct intervention, manual massage of each heart chamber, electromagnetic pulses at specific intervals. And if that doesn't work, I'll inject stimulants directly into the heart muscle. The alien doctors looked horrified. That's barbaric, one of them whispered. Lisa turned to face them all. Her voice was hard. You want to know why humans are good at emergency medicine? Because we've been killing each other in creative ways for thousands of years. Every war taught us something new about the human body. Every battlefield gave us new problems to solve. We learned to replace hearts, rebuild faces, reattach limbs, and bring people back from the edge of death. She paused, looking at each of them. Your species are advanced. You have amazing technology. But you know what you don't have? Experience with failure. When your medicine can't fix something, you give up. You call it impossible. Humans, we don't accept impossible. We just call it a problem we haven't solved yet. Supreme General Vaxthor had been watching from the doorway. Now he spoke. Proceed, Dr. Crawford. Show us what human medicine can do. Lisa nodded. Amy, put him under. Crix, prep the surgical field. Zeph, I need constant updates on his cellular decay rate. Jake, help me set up the 3D printer. The team moved into action. The 3D printer hummed to life, beginning to create the synthetic crystal matrices that would replace the prince's shattered bones. Lisa scrubbed her hands and arms, then put on surgical gloves. They were thin and flexible, nothing like the force field barriers the alien surgeons used. As she approached the operating table, the station's AI medical system began beeping warnings. A mechanical voice announced, Warning! Proposed surgical procedures deviate from established protocols. Success probability, less than 5%. Recommend termination of treatment. Override the warnings, Lisa commanded. I cannot do that, the AI replied. The protocols exist to prevent harm to patients. Lisa looked up at the ceiling where the AI's sensors were located. Listen to me carefully. I'm a human doctor. We don't follow protocols when someone is dying. We do whatever it takes to save them. Now shut up and let me work. There was a pause. Then the AI went silent. Lisa took a deep breath and picked up her scalpel. Let's begin. The surgery started. Lisa made the first incision, and purple blood welled up immediately. The alien doctors made sounds of distress. But Lisa's hands never wavered. She had done this 1,000 times before. Blood didn't scare her. Death didn't scare her. The only thing that scared her was giving up. Amy monitored the prince's vital signs, adjusting the anesthesia constantly. His brain activity is dropping, she reported. You need to work faster. I'm going as fast as I can, Lisa replied. Her hands moved with practiced skill, clearing away damaged tissue and exposing the shattered bones underneath. They glittered in the light, beautiful and deadly. Crix handed her instruments without being asked, learning quickly what Lisa needed. Zeph floated nearby, his gaseous form shifting colors as he monitored the prince's cells. Cellular decay is accelerating, he warned. Many cells are dying. Lisa didn't respond. She was focused completely on her work. The first synthetic crystal matrix came out of the printer, still warm. She fitted it into place against a broken bone, then used a special adhesive she had developed for this exact purpose. It bonded instantly. 1 bone fixed, 46 more to go. The hours began to pass. 6 hours into the surgery, Lisa's back ached and her eyes burned, but she didn't stop. Sweat dripped down her face. Amy wiped it away without being asked, then went back to monitoring the anesthesia. The prince was still alive, but barely. Another matrix is ready, Crix announced, handing Lisa the warm synthetic crystal. It glowed faintly blue, matching the prince's natural bone structure. Lisa positioned it carefully against a shattered rib. The bone had broken into 7 pieces, fragments that had pierced the prince's lung. She had to remove each piece, stop the bleeding, repair the lung tissue, and then rebuild the entire rib. It was delicate work that required absolute focus. The alien doctors who had stayed to watch stood in silence. Some looked fascinated. Others looked disgusted. Dr. Zilf kept making clicking sounds of disapproval, but he didn't leave. He couldn't. What he was seeing shouldn't be possible. How are his hearts? Lisa asked without looking up. Zeph's form shifted to a dark purple color. The 3rd heart is failing. It will stop within the hour. Once it stops, brain death will follow in minutes. Then I need to work faster. Lisa's hands moved with renewed speed. She had 30 more bones to repair and less than an hour to do it. The math was simple and terrifying. Commander Morrison stood near the door, watching everything. His military training had prepared him for many things, but this was different. He had seen soldiers die on battlefields. He had seen medics work miracles under fire. But he had never seen anything like what Lisa was doing now. She was fighting death itself, and somehow she was winning. The station's AI system beeped again. Warning. Patient's vital signs are critical. Recommend immediate termination of surgery. No, Lisa said firmly. We keep going. The patient is dying, the AI insisted. Everyone is dying, Lisa shot back. Some people just do it faster than others. I decide when we stop, not you. She finished the 30th bone and moved immediately to the next one. Her hands were starting to shake from exhaustion, but she forced them to be steady. A surgeon's hands couldn't shake, not when a life depended on them. Amy checked the monitors and her face went pale. Lisa, his 2nd heart just stopped completely. Only 1 heart is still beating, and it's not strong enough to support his whole body. Lisa cursed under her breath. She had hoped to finish the bone repairs before dealing with the hearts, but time had run out. How long before the last heart fails? 20 minutes, maybe less. Lisa made a decision. She couldn't finish all the bones in time, but she could stabilize the most critical ones. Crix, I need you to take over the bone repairs. I've shown you what to do. Can you handle it? The small insect nurse hesitated, then nodded. I will try. Don't try. Do it. Lisa stepped back and let Crix take her place. Then she moved to the prince's chest, where his 3 hearts were located in a triangle pattern. 2 had gone dark on the monitors. The 3rd was barely flickering. I need the defibrillator, Lisa said. Dr. Morath floated closer. Our defibrillation technology has already failed. It is too gentle for his species. We cannot increase the power without destroying his heart tissue. I'm not using your defibrillator. Lisa pointed at the human medical supplies. Get me the portable unit from that crate, the one with the paddles. Amy found it and brought it over. The other doctors stared at the device like it was a weapon from the Dark Ages. In a way, it was. The defibrillator was old technology, crude by galactic standards. But it worked. Lisa charged the device and placed the paddles against the prince's chest, positioning them over his first stopped heart. Everyone stand back. She pressed the trigger. Electricity surged through the prince's body. His whole frame jerked violently. The monitors screamed warnings, but the first heart didn't restart. Again, Lisa said, charging the device for a second attempt. You're damaging his tissue, Dr. Sylph protested. This is madness. It's human medicine, Lisa corrected. She shocked the prince again. Still nothing. She tried a 3rd time, then a 4th. The alien doctors turned away, unable to watch. They thought she was torturing a dying patient. But Lisa had seen this work before. She knew that sometimes you had to hurt someone to save them. On the 5th attempt, something changed. The monitor beeped once, then again. The first heart had restarted, weak but alive. Yes, Amy shouted. But there was no time to celebrate. The 3rd heart, the one that had been working alone, suddenly stopped from the strain. Now only 1 heart was beating, and it wasn't enough. Lisa moved fast. She repositioned the paddles over the 2nd heart. Come on, she muttered. Don't give up on me now. She shocked it once. Nothing. Twice. Still nothing. His brain activity is dropping fast, Zeph warned, his gaseous form turning nearly black with alarm. He's dying. Lisa's mind raced. The defibrillator wasn't working on the 2nd heart. She needed something stronger, something more direct. Then she remembered a technique from Earth's early days of heart surgery. It was risky and painful, but it might work. I need a long needle and a syringe, she said. Fill it with the synthetic adrenaline from the human medical kit. Maximum dose. Amy's eyes went wide. Lisa, you can't. If you inject that directly into his heart and it doesn't work, you'll cause irreversible damage. If I don't try, he's dead anyway. Lisa took the prepared syringe from Amy's shaking hands. She studied the holographic display, finding the exact location of the 2nd heart. Then, with one smooth motion, she pushed the needle through the prince's chest and directly into the heart muscle. She pressed the plunger. The prince's body convulsed. Every alarm in the medical bay started screaming at once. The monitors showed his vital signs going completely wild. For 5 terrible seconds, Lisa thought she had killed him. Then the 2nd heart stuttered, stopped, stuttered again, and started beating. The room erupted in shocked exclamations. Even Dr. Zilf made a sound that might have been surprise or respect, but Lisa wasn't done. The 3rd heart, she said. I need to restart it manually. Before anyone could argue, she made a larger incision in the prince's chest. Her hands reached inside and she found the 3rd heart. It was still and cold under her fingers. She began to massage it, squeezing it in a rhythm she had learned in medical school. Compress, release, compress, release. Amy counted the beats out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4. Crix had stopped working on the bones, watching in amazement. Zeph drifted closer, his form brightening with hope. Lisa massaged the heart for 2 full minutes. Her arms ached, her fingers cramped, but she didn't stop. She thought about her brother, who had died when she was young because the doctors in their war-torn city had given up too soon. She had promised herself that day that she would never give up on a patient. Never. "Come on," she whispered to the dying prince. "Fight. You're a prince. You're supposed to be strong, so be strong." As if hearing her words, the third heart suddenly contracted under her hands. Once, twice. Then it began beating on its own. All 3 hearts were working. The monitors stabilized. The alarms stopped. The prince's blood pressure began to climb back toward normal levels. Lisa carefully withdrew her hands and closed the incision. Her legs felt weak, but she remained standing. "Amy, status report." "All 3 hearts are beating," Amy said, her voice full of wonder. "They're weak, but they're synchronized. His brain activity is improving. He's going to make it." Lisa nodded slowly. Then her legs finally gave out, and she sat down hard on the floor. Commander Morrison was at her side immediately. "You did it," he said quietly. "You actually did it." "We're not done yet," Lisa replied. "Crix, finish the bone repairs. Amy, keep him stable. I need 5 minutes, then I'll be back up." Supreme General Vaxthor's voice came through the communication system. "Dr. Crawford, I have been monitoring the surgery. What you have accomplished should not be possible." Lisa looked up at the speaker. "General, in human medicine, we don't worry about what should or shouldn't be possible. We just focus on what needs to be done." "I am beginning to understand that," the general replied. "Continue your work, Doctor. The galaxy is watching." 18 hours after the surgery began, Lisa finally stepped away from the operating table. Prince Calvin lay still, his chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm. All 3 hearts beat in perfect synchronization. The synthetic crystal matrices had bonded with his natural bone structure. Against all odds, he was alive. But Lisa didn't celebrate. She knew that surgery was only the first battle. Recovery was the second, and it could be just as dangerous. "I'm staying with him," she announced to the exhausted team. "The automated monitoring systems aren't designed for the repairs I made. I need to watch him personally." Amy protested weakly. "Lisa, you've been standing for 18 hours. You need rest." "I'll rest when he's stable." Lisa pulled up a chair next to the prince's bed and settled into it. Her body screamed with exhaustion, but her mind was alert. She had learned long ago how to push past tiredness when a patient needed her. The other alien doctors had left hours ago, unable to watch anymore. Only Crix and Zeph remained, both of them looking at Lisa with something like awe. "You should rest," Crix said in his high-pitched voice. "We can monitor the prince." "I trust you both," Lisa said honestly. "But this is my responsibility. I made promises with every stitch and every repair. I keep my promises." Commander Morrison brought her coffee from the human quarters. It was terrible coffee, the kind that came in military ration packs, but Lisa drank it gratefully. "The news is spreading," Jake told her. "Every species in the coalition is talking about the human doctor who saved the Veltharan prince." "I don't care about fame," Lisa said. "I just want him to wake up." "Well, the Dominion Empire cares. They intercepted our communications. They know what you did." Jake's face was serious. "Their military leaders are worried, Lisa. They're realizing that if humans can keep the unsavable alive, we can keep soldiers fighting longer. You've changed their calculations about the war." Lisa hadn't thought about that. She had been too focused on saving one life to consider the bigger picture. "That's not why I did this," she said quietly. "I know, but that's the reality." Jake squeezed her shoulder. "Get some rest when you can. The galaxy is watching you now." Hours passed slowly. Lisa dozed in her chair, waking every few minutes to check the monitors. The prince's vital signs remained stable. His body was healing faster than she had predicted. The Veltharan physiology was resilient, once you knew how to work with it instead of against it. On the second day after surgery, Supreme General Vaxthor came to visit in person. His massive form filled the doorway of the recovery room. His yellow eyes studied the sleeping prince, then moved to Lisa, who still sat in her chair, now wearing clean clothes but looking exhausted. "You have not left his side," the general observed. "No, sir." "Why?" Lisa thought about how to explain it. "Where I come from, General, we had a lot of wars. I grew up in a city where bombs fell almost every night. I watched doctors give up on patients because they didn't have the right equipment or the right medicine. I watched my brother die because the doctor said he couldn't be saved." She paused. "I became a doctor so I could be different, so I could refuse to give up." Vaxthor was quiet for a long moment. "My species values certainty," he said finally. "We believe that a good leader knows the outcome before taking action. We see unpredictability as weakness. And humans? Humans seem to find strength in uncertainty. You attempt things that have never been done. You take risks that any sensible species would avoid. You refuse to accept that some things are impossible." The general's voice held something that might have been respect. "I told you that no one could save the prince. You proved me wrong." "I just did what needed to be done," Lisa said. "No. You did what we thought could not be done. There is a difference." Vaxthor moved closer to the bed, looking down at the prince. "The Veltharan government has been informed of their prince's condition. They are sending representatives to thank you personally. They have also confirmed their commitment to the coalition. Your actions may have saved more than one life, Dr. Crawford. You may have saved the entire war effort." Before Lisa could respond, one of the monitors beeped with a new pattern. She jumped to her feet, suddenly alert. The prince's brain activity was changing. His eyes moved beneath his closed eyelids. "He's waking up," Lisa said, moving to his side. "Amy, I need you here." Amy rushed in from the next room where she had been resting. Together they watched as Prince Calvin slowly regained consciousness. His 4 eyes opened one at a time, focusing with difficulty on the lights above him. He tried to speak, but only a weak sound came out. Lisa gently touched his shoulder. "Don't try to talk yet, Your Highness. You've been through major surgery. Your body needs time to recover." The prince's eyes found hers. Even in his weakened state, she could see intelligence and curiosity in them. He managed to whisper a single word in his native language. Zeph, floating nearby, translated. "He asks who you are." "I'm Dr. Lisa Crawford. I'm a human doctor. You were badly injured, and I performed surgery to save your life." The prince looked confused. He whispered again, and Zeph translated. "He asks why. He has heard that humans are new to the galaxy. Why would a human risk everything to save a Veltharan?" Lisa smiled. "Because you needed help. Where I come from, when someone is dying in front of you, you do everything you can to save them. It doesn't matter if they're human or alien, friend or stranger. A doctor's duty is to preserve life." The prince closed his eyes, processing this. When he opened them again, there was something different in his gaze. Respect, perhaps, or gratitude. Over the next day, more people arrived at the medical station. Dr. Sylph and Dr. Morath came to examine the prince, shocked by his rapid recovery. They studied Lisa's work with careful attention, taking notes and asking questions. "This technique with the synthetic crystal matrices," Dr. Sylph said, his clicking voice less disapproving now. "It should not work. The bonding process should take weeks, yet his bones are already healing." "That's because I didn't try to make them perfect," Lisa explained. "I made them functional. Your medicine focuses on precision and perfection. Human medicine focuses on survival first, perfection later. Sometimes good enough is better than perfect, especially when time is critical. Dr. Morath's light form flickered with interest. And the heart restart procedure. It was violent and dangerous. But it worked when our gentle methods failed. Sometimes you have to hurt someone to save them, Lisa said. That's a hard lesson, but every human combat medic learns it. Word spread through the station that the human doctor was teaching alien physicians about her techniques. Soon, other human doctors on the station were being approached by curious aliens who wanted to learn more. Amy found Lisa in the recovery room and showed her a message on a data pad. Look at this. The Galactic Medical Council wants to establish a human medical training program. They want us to teach emergency medicine to doctors across Coalition space. Lisa read the message with growing amazement. They're actually taking us seriously. Of course they are. You saved someone they declared unsavable. You've changed everything. Lisa. But the biggest change came on the third day, when Prince Colvin was strong enough to sit up and speak clearly. Lisa was checking his vital signs when he caught her hand with one of his 4 hands. Dr. Crawford, he said, his voice still weak but determined. I need to ask you something. Of course, Your Highness. Why did you risk so much for me? The general told me that if I died because of your treatment, your entire species might have suffered consequences. You could have refused. You could have let nature take its course, but you risked everything. His eyes searched her face. Why? Lisa thought about all the reasons she could give. The political alliance, the war effort, the scientific challenge. But in the end, she told him the simple truth. Because you deserved a chance to live. Everyone does. Species, politics, military strategy. None of that matters when someone is dying right in front of you. My oath as a doctor is simple. Preserve life. I don't give up on that oath just because the odds are bad or the patient is different from me. She smiled slightly. Maybe that makes me stubborn. Or maybe that's just what it means to be human. The prince was quiet for a long moment. Then he squeezed her hand gently. Thank you, doctor. You have given me more than my life. You have given me a new understanding of what courage truly means. 3 days after he woke up, Prince Calvin was strong enough to leave his bed. Lisa watched with satisfaction as he walked slowly around the recovery room, supported by cricks on one side and a walking frame on the other. His movements were careful and measured, but he was moving. That alone was a miracle. The Veltharan representatives had arrived the previous day. They were tall, elegant beings with the same blue-scaled skin as the prince, dressed in elaborate robes that shimmered in the light. They had bowed deeply to Lisa, speaking words of gratitude in their musical language. Through translators, they confirmed that their government would remain loyal to the coalition and had even committed additional military resources to the war effort. But Lisa barely heard them. She was focused on her patient, watching for any sign of pain or difficulty. The prince noticed her attention and smiled. It was strange to see a smile on an alien face, but the emotion behind it was universal. You worry too much, doctor, he said, his voice growing stronger each day. I am healing well, thanks to your skill. I won't stop worrying until you're completely recovered, Lisa replied. She checked the data pad showing his vital signs. Your heart rhythms are excellent. The bone repairs are holding. You're healing faster than I expected. My species is resilient, the prince said. We simply needed someone who understood how to work with our biology rather than against it. That evening, Supreme General Vaxthor called a formal meeting in the station's command center. Lisa was summoned, along with Commander Morrison, Amy, and the other human doctors stationed on Osiris. The room was filled with military officers from various species, all of them watching as Lisa entered. The general stood at the head of the table, his massive form imposing as always. But when he spoke, his voice carried respect. 3 days ago, I made a statement. I said that no one could save Prince Calvin. I said his injuries were beyond any doctor's ability to heal. He paused, his yellow eyes finding Lisa in the crowd. I was wrong. A murmur went through the assembled officers. Dr. Lisa Crawford proved that where we saw impossibility, humans see only a problem requiring a solution. She succeeded where the galaxy's finest doctors failed. In doing so, she has demonstrated that humanity's value to the Coalition extends far beyond military strength. Vaxthor activated a holographic display. It showed combat statistics, casualty reports, and medical data. Since Dr. Crawford's success, I have reviewed human medical achievements. The results are remarkable. Humans have survival rates in combat situations that exceed any other species by significant margins. They routinely save patients that our own doctors would declare beyond help. He looked directly at Lisa. Dr. Crawford, on behalf of the Coalition Military Command, I am offering you a position as Chief of Emergency Medicine for the entire Coalition fleet. You will have authority to train doctors from all species in human medical techniques. You will establish new protocols that integrate human adaptability with alien technology. Lisa felt everyone's eyes on her. This was bigger than she had imagined. They wanted to change how the entire galaxy approached medicine. General, I accept, but on one condition. Vaxthor raised what might have been an eyebrow. State your condition. It's not enough to just hire human doctors. You need to change the philosophy. Your medical establishment treats certainty as the goal. You want to predict outcomes and avoid risks. But human medicine is built on something different. We embrace uncertainty. We take risks when necessary. We refuse to accept that any patient is truly beyond saving until we've tried everything possible. Lisa stepped forward. If you want human doctors, you need to accept human philosophy. Not just our techniques, but our attitude. The room was silent. Some of the alien officers looked uncomfortable. Others looked thoughtful. Finally, Vaxthor nodded slowly. Agreed. The Galactic Medical Council has already expressed interest in learning from humanity. Your attitude, as you call it, may be exactly what the Coalition needs, not just in medicine, but in all aspects of our society. Commander Morrison spoke up. General, if I may add something. What Dr. Crawford did with Prince Calvin is just one example. Humans bring this same approach to everything we do. We don't give up. We don't accept impossible. When everyone else sees a dead end, we see a challenge to overcome. I am beginning to understand that, Vaxthor said. The Dominion Empire is also beginning to understand. They have increased their military preparations because they realize that fighting humans means fighting an enemy that refuses to lose. Over the next week, Lisa began setting up the new medical training program. Doctors from a dozen species came to learn from her. She taught them about battlefield surgery, about making decisions with incomplete information, about working with damaged systems instead of waiting for perfect conditions. Dr. Zilf became one of her most dedicated students. The insect doctor's initial disapproval had transformed into genuine curiosity. You humans are chaos incarnate, he told Lisa one day, but there was no insult in his clicking voice. You thrive in situations where everything is going wrong. It is remarkable. We had to learn, Lisa replied. Earth was not an easy planet. We fought each other for thousands of years. We survived diseases, disasters, and our own stupidity. We got good at emergency medicine because we had so many emergencies. And now you share that knowledge with us, Dr. Morath added, her light form glowing warmly. You could have kept your techniques secret, maintained an advantage. Instead, you teach freely. That's also human philosophy, Lisa said. We're stronger when we share knowledge. The more doctors who know how to save lives, the better for everyone. Prince Calvin recovered fully over the following weeks. The day he was cleared to return home, he asked to speak with Lisa privately. They met in the garden area of the station, a place where plants from various worlds grew together under artificial sunlight. "Dr. Crawford," he began formally, then smiled and switched to a friendlier tone. "Lisa, I wanted to thank you one final time before I leave." "You don't need to thank me anymore," Lisa said. "I was just doing my job." "No. You were doing much more than your job." The prince's 4 eyes looked at her seriously. "You risked everything because you believed I deserved a chance to live. That belief, that fundamental respect for life regardless of species or circumstance, that is something special. That is something human." He reached out and took her hand in one of his 4. "My people will remember what you did. We will remember that when no one else would help, a human stepped forward. And we will teach our children that courage sometimes means refusing to accept what everyone else calls impossible." Lisa felt tears in her eyes. She blinked them away quickly. "Just promise me you'll be careful. No more assassination attempts." The prince laughed, a sound like wind chimes. "I promise to try. And if I fail, perhaps you can put me back together again." After the prince left, Lisa returned to work. The medical bay was busier than ever. Word had spread across the coalition about the human doctor who performed miracles. Patients who had been declared beyond help were being sent to Osiris, hoping for a second chance. Lisa didn't save all of them. Some were truly beyond any doctor's ability to heal, but she saved more than the statistics said she should. And with each success, she proved that human determination was just as valuable as any advanced technology. One day, an emergency call came in. A ship had been damaged in battle, multiple casualties. The prognosis was grim. The alien doctors were already talking about which patients couldn't be saved, trying to prioritize resources for those with better chances. Lisa rolled up her sleeves and walked into the medical bay. Amy and the other human doctors followed her. Crix and Zeph joined them, along with Dr. Zilf and several other alien doctors who had completed the human medical training. "Let's get to work," Lisa said firmly. "And remember what I taught you. We don't give up. We don't accept impossible. Everyone gets a chance." From the command deck, Commander Morrison watched through the windows as the medical team sprang into action. He thought about how much had changed in just a few weeks. The galaxy had learned that humans brought more than weapons to the coalition. They brought hope. They brought determination. They brought the absolute refusal to accept defeat. On the communication channel, he heard Supreme General Vaxthor speaking with another officer. "They told me that humans would contribute military strength to the coalition," the general said. "They were right, but incomplete. Humanity's greatest weapon was never their technology or their tactics. It was their spirit. They simply refused to lose." Morrison smiled. That was humanity in a nutshell. Stubborn, determined, and absolutely unwilling to give up. Sometimes that got them in trouble. But sometimes, like today, it saved lives. In the medical bay, Lisa worked on a patient that 3 alien doctors had declared unsavable. His injuries were extensive. His biology was failing. The odds were terrible. But Lisa had learned long ago that odds were just numbers. They didn't account for skill, determination, or the simple human refusal to let someone die without a fight. "Scalpel," she said calmly, holding out her hand. Amy placed the instrument in her palm. "Here we go again." "Here we go again," Lisa agreed. She made the first incision, beginning another battle against death. She would probably win this one too. And if she didn't, she would learn from it, adapt, and do better next time. That was the human way. That was what made them special. Not perfection, but persistence. Not certainty, but courage. Not accepting limits, but constantly pushing beyond them to see what was possible. The galaxy was learning that lesson now. And it was changing everything. Years later, medical students across the coalition would learn about the day a human doctor proved that impossible was just another word for difficult. They would study Lisa Crawford's techniques and her philosophy. They would learn that sometimes the best medicine wasn't the most advanced technology, but the simple refusal to give up on a patient who deserved a chance to live. And somewhere in that lesson, they would discover what it truly meant when humans said, "No one is beyond saving until we've tried everything." That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not weapons or technology, but hope. And hope, it turned out, was the most powerful medicine of all.